Hi, everyone. We are back with Pink Table. Let me make sure my screen is clear. We're back with Pink Table Talk this month. It's been a long October for us all, I think, doing everything we can, fitting in every event that we can. We have truly been where Black women live, work, play, pray, and slay this month. I think I swung into one of Dr. Nia's events for about 20 minutes at one point. Flew to California, saw Jennifer at one point. We've just been everywhere. So thank you guys though for taking your time today at the end of this month to, I think it'll be a nice way to like wrap up the month even, and so this talk today with Pink Table Talk is about how to talk to your daughter about Black breast health. We have another mother-daughter duo logging in later, and you know we love a good mom-daughter duo here at Touch. But first, let's hear from my co-host, Dr. Candace.
Yes, thank you all for joining us this lovely Sunday and the last Sunday of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But we know at Touch that we recognize breast health and breast cancer awareness year-round, so we'll be here throughout the year. A special shout out to Haley. Congratulations on your recent nuptials.
Thank you. Sorry, Ashani, we hopped in a little early, so you're just hopping in here. But thank you so much, Dr. Candace.
Of course. And welcome, everyone. I'm excited to have this lovely group of mother-daughter duos.
Yes. So why don't we give some introductions first? Let's hear from Dr. Nia Bailey and her mom. So happy to hear. I voted for you so many times on your cooking.
Thank you. I appreciate
it. Who are you?
So I'm her mom. My name is Narda Fields Bailey, and I have the complete honor of, I raised her already, but, we went from mother and daughter to me raising her to friends. So I have the honor of watching her grow and soar and going forth. But I own my own meal prep business for healthy eating, and thank you for your votes. I appreciate that. But yeah, I'm just here to do whatever I can to ensure that we take our health seriously, right? It is a gift after all, and I do believe that we should take it seriously, mind, body, and spirit.
And Dr. Nia, tell me who you are.
And I'm her daughter. She always pushed me to know about our bodies, and especially Black people. I think we have a big family. Her mom comes from one of 12, and every one of them had cancer, and it was kind of like a secret. So she was like the rule breaker of finding out what type of cancers they had so that we could be, have the resources and tools for ourselves.
Yeah.
So now there's no more secrets. I probably know a little bit too much about our family, but at least it's for the benefit of, myself, her, and even my nieces.
Totally. Thank you guys for being here.
Thank you.
Jennifer, who are you?
Hi, I'm Jennifer Johnson, and I am a triple negative breast cancer survivor. I was diagnosed with stage 1 triple negative breast cancer in October of 2021. So I'm celebrating 2 years this year. And my daughter is Jaylene. She's grabbing coffee, so I'm telling her hurry now. But she's learning more about my breast and also hers. And so I diagnosed, and I had 2 adult daughters. She's 21. I also have an older daughter, who's 24. And at the time, I really wanted them to understand the importance of breast health at that moment, although I was going through the time as well. So we've been on this journey together, just learning the importance of breast health and early detection, saving lives, and how we need to start immediately. So just happy to be here.
Thank you.
Thank
you. And Ashani, you look so gorgeous today. You're like all ready and ready to go.
I did go run upstairs, put on a sweater and pink earrings.
I love it.
I did put on pink earrings. I did that really fast. Hello, everybody. My name is Ashani Johnson Turbis, and I am Naima Turbis down in my right-hand corner. I am her mother, and I am a social scientist, and I work at the University of Chicago. I work for NORC at the University of Chicago. I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota, but I've lived in Atlanta, Georgia for 26 years. I have adult children now, so that's like a big thing. I'm amazed that I thought Jennifer was a daughter, and then she says she has. I was like, what? I was sure you were gonna be like, yeah, I'm 22, my mom's coming. So, but and been doing work with and around Touch for many, like 15 years or so.
Yeah.
So it's been a very long time. I remember when you were much littler and I met your mom. So that's me.
Yeah, no, they've been literally doing all of like running all of our numbers so we can report to our people. And Naima recently trained Emily and I on how to do this ourselves. Hopefully, we don't have to call her too many more times. I'm sure we will. But Naima, please share who you are.
Yeah, can you hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
I'm Naima. I'm the daughter of Ashani. And yeah, I've been helping with Touch and for the Love of Our Girls a little bit with running numbers. I just graduated Duke. I'm out here in California right now and majored in neuro and public policy. So I'm like passionate about health policy. And like I've loved to see what work you guys have already started doing. So yeah, I'm excited to learn more. It's great to be a part of this.
Thank you. And now Jaylene is here. Jaylene, why don't you tell us who you are? It was such a honor to meet you guys in California and have that moment.
Yeah, that was really fun. That was a fun moment too, seeing you out there, getting to chat it up a little bit. But I'm Jaylene. I'm Jennifer's daughter. I'm currently in school at a local community college, and I'm also a preschool teacher in Oakland. So my kind of passion in life is children and like getting to the nitty-gritty of the youth and like learning what I can do in order to like kind of better our community, because you know the children are our next generation and it's really, really important to get to them now before the world really has a negative impact. So that's really kind of my goal and my passion. I've recently been working with my mom, kind of just volunteering around the community when it comes to breast health and advocacy for Black women when it comes to our breast health and just kind of the importance of that. When I first got into it with her, like it was really kind of shocking, like, wow, like it affects us so much. But it wasn't until my mother got diagnosed that I even started hearing about it and I started going to seminars about it and we're learning about it. I'm like, but it affects us so much, but it's just not talked about enough. So I've really been interested being on this journey with her and, you know, kind of with all the women that I've been meeting, Haley, you included, and Dr. Candace and everybody that I've been meeting and learning from. I'm learning something new every single day. And it's really been super educational and productive.
Yeah.
For
Actually, I was gonna say this is where it begins. You start by just like doing little advocacy things with your mom, and next thing you know, you dedicated your life to boobs. And so
exactly.
warning you now. How it begins.
This is the path I'm on, it looks like.
Yeah. No, it's a good path. I can't say that I have anything bad to say about it. And definitely next time I'm in the Bay, let's hook up Naima and Jaylene so they can hang out. But anyways, kind of want to start by just grounding us in what we do here at Touch and grounding us in the work that we have. So back to what Jaylene was just saying, you know, we have 41% higher mortality rate. We have a 39% higher recurrence rate. And then Black women under 35 get breast cancer at 2 times the rate and die at 3 times the rate. And Dr. Candace, I think you might have some new numbers to share too, which I would love for you to share at some point. Because I think you emailed me some numbers that were recent.
I did email you some numbers.
Yeah, no, while you look them up, I'll play our video. Because you sent them and it was just like, well, that's why Dr. Candace is here to make sure we have the recent data because things are ever changing, but we want to keep an eye on it all the time. But you know, so that number, the under 35 one was really what got my mom and I at a time. We were like, how can we solve for this for young Black women? And how can we combat that we're still being told to get mammograms at 40, which is better than the 50 it was before, but the under 35 is very clear. And if we're not told to get mammograms until we're 40, then we don't know if we have dense breasts, we don't know our risk, all of these things. And so For Love of My Girls was really created to kind of bridge that gap in time and space so that young Black women can know what they need to know now, especially because if you look at the fine print of those things, which we all need to read more fine print, it says like, if you're of average risk, start getting mammograms at 40, right? And it's like, what if I'm not of average risk? How do I know this? And so again, that's why we created For Love of My Girls. So my video doesn't always show very well on YouTube. So I'm going to try in my presentation here. Actually, let me make sure I share my sound. And hopefully it shows on Black Doctor. If it doesn't, you can find it on our website, loveofmygirls.org. But I'm gonna go ahead and try to show this here. Girl, for the love of my girls.
Black women under 35 get breast cancer at 2 times the rate of white women.
And die at 3 times the rate.
It's up to us to take care of our girls.
The only solution is conversation.
I choose Black Breast Health because protecting my girls means protecting all Black girls.
I unlock my her story by talking with my family about our shared health history to know my personal risk.
I get to know my girls as an act of self-care. Are you ready to get in touch with your girls? Visit
loveofmygirls.org to get in touch with your girls. So I always say this because I'm really excited about it. But if anybody needs a voiceover person, call me because I enjoy doing that. But yeah, and so For Love of My Girls really has those 3 prongs. One, understand that Black breast health is real. We spend a lot of time telling, hey, pharma, Black breast cancer is real. We do have a unique disease. And so if Black breast cancer is real, then so is Black breast health. And then 1, unlock your her story. Knowing your shared health history is the best way to begin to know your risk. And then lastly, we want young women to be checking their girls, knowing how and when to do so. So I'd love to dive into the 3 different families here. It's really exciting because, again, I mean, obviously I'm a sucker for a mom-daughter duo, and we have 3 of them here. But yeah, Candace, go, yeah.
Yeah, sorry. So I have the graphs up here if you want me to share them. I think
Go for it.
Nice to see it. So this is data from the American Cancer Society, showing the updated rates of mortality. And it's the 5-year survival rates, and they break it down into like all stages, localized, meaning in the breast, or regional, meaning in the breast and the lymph nodes, or distant, and then unstaged. And they also break it down by race. The light pink is African American or Black women. And you can see for every single area, we are lower than any other group, especially when there is distance spread. We're about 21% survival rate for that. And everyone else is around 30 to 35. So it does really affect us. And then there are also some other studies. There's one out of Memorial Sloan Kettering from 2020, talking about breast cancer in young Black women and how we also have more adverse cancer characteristics, and we receive more aggressive treatment, but we also have a worse disease-free survival, meaning the cancer comes back more for us. So it's really important that we're getting the word out, like everyone has said, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, no, what I saw from that graph immediately too was like we just have to early detect this, because if it moves, we're in a bad place, you know, as Black women. So we just have to, early detection just has to be the goal here. So on that note, like, I'd love to dive into your families and how do you guys talk about breast health in your families? Did you talk about it? I know, Jennifer, you had diagnosis. So did you talk about it before? Do you just not talk about it after? Or like, you know, anyone that wants to start?
Sure, I can get started. So prior to my diagnosis, I was diagnosed at 38. I did not really discuss breast health with my daughters before that, although I knew that I should be checking early on. And even with my own mother, we weren't discussing it. And so I'm number 7 of 8 children. I have sisters, and it's just been like the culture of the family, really, like we just really didn't speak on health issues. And my mom would keep whatever's going on her privately, and we had to kind of dig out like grandmothers and great aunts and things like that to understand like what was going on with their health after diagnosis. So me being diagnosed kind of opened up that door for the generations before me as well as after to kind of start having the open dialogue to say, hey, what is my story? Like, I don't know like what the risk was. I don't know like who really had breast cancer. And not just, I knew I had a great aunt with breast cancer, but when I was asked, oh, when was she diagnosed and what type was it? I was like, oh, I don't know. Like, I just knew that I heard, you know, after the fact. So learning those details. So post-diagnosis, I wanted to make it a point, one, to share with, you know, my sisters and mothers and cousins, as well as my daughters, but about my history and what was going on with me, the stage, the statistics around it. I also got genetic testing done. So I was BRCA negative, but to explain to them what that even meant, right? And understanding that piece. And then so even now, so like when Jaylene goes to Dr. I drill her, like, okay, quiz time. What type of, when was I diagnosed? What type of cancer did I get? What kind of treatment did I get? Like, you need to know all these things and the importance of that. So just starting this dialogue now and having the open discussion has actually brought the women in the family a little closer together.
I love that.
That's
Oh,
great.
it should be a time of becoming closer together, you know, and like bonding over our family history. Yeah.
Interestingly enough, I started my breast health journey before Nia was born. So I had her brother when I was 22 years old. And actually, when he was a month old, that was my first breast surgery. So that I'm 62 now, so that was about 100 years ago.
It was.
About 40 years ago. And that's when they kept you in the hospital when everything was big and so forth. And I can't remember right now which breast it was, but I was breastfeeding him. And one breast just didn't act like the other, and it was extremely painful. And I went for an exam, and they kept me and wouldn't let me go home. And they scheduled the surgery next day. So I'm frantic. I got a new baby, or you know, the whole thing. But since that time, I discovered that I do have dense breast. And since the time of 22 years old till now, Nia is born all these years later, and I've probably had maybe about 8 to 10 breast surgeries as a result. All of them have been benign, but I have had that many surgeries. And so I think once I had a daughter, and then we start talking more about breast health and what's important. And then our family history, I had an aunt pass away when I was carrying Nia from breast cancer. And so like she said, all of the cancers, my mother was one of 12, and there are just 2 remaining, and everybody passed away from cancer, including their parents. And so I think it's important that we talk about breast health, knowing our bodies and knowing, but I also believe that it works together when we talk about our health and what we ingest and what we put into our bodies, and advocate for ourselves and know stuff. Don't binge drink, and watch what you eat and read the label. And I believe all of that kind of works together, and know your history, but some people will never know our history. Isn't that right? So what do we do with not knowing our history? We still figure out what we need to eat and Google. There's a thing called Google now. So we'll Google and start the conversation that way. So every time she has an appointment, I'm like, did I tell you? So I'm constantly, did I tell you? To the point now where she's telling me what's in the family. And I'm like, really? I didn't know that. So yeah.
That's great. And Ashani, how did you guys talk about breast health in your home?
So I'll say, so I recognize that all the moms were going first, so I'm going to continue the trend. And I will say, Naima and we didn't really talk a lot about breast health, but I will say that it has been my involvement with Touch and with For the Love of My Girls, and even before that, the work I was doing at CDC, like maybe 10 or 15 years ago, that we've started to talk about it more. So it's become, so actually I credit this campaign, this work that you all are doing with motivating Naima and I to talk more about it. Because there's things that like I thought I told her, thought I said, she's like, Mom, you didn't tell me that. So but my journey certainly started also, and I love how Nia put this, like before my child was born. So when I was 17, they found a lump in my breast, and that turned out to be benign. It was huge, but it was benign, and that was removed. So I had surgery when I was 17 to have a lump removed. And then again, when I was 25 years old, 2 more lumps were found in that same breast and almost in that same spot. They went in back through that same incision, and removed 2 more lumps out of that same breast. And again, it was benign, and fortunately benign. But so I've since I was a teenager, examined my breast, been aware of that. Also have dense breasts and lumpy breasts. So the doctors told me many, many years ago. So it has been on my mind since then. And then now I've told most recently, like started to tell Naima that, or tell that story. My mother's best friends back in the 80s, her name was Lori. She had, and she passed away from breast cancer. I was very close to Lori. So I've known about this, and it's sort of been in my orbit for a very long time, especially since my surgeries from the time I was a teenager and then into my 20s. And have just started talking about that in recent years with Naima, and telling her those stories. But I do credit in large part the work that you all are doing, Haley, with motivating that.
I mean, that's great to know, you know, because I think I always say this, like so many of us know the things that we should be doing. I know that the last drink I shouldn't have had. And it's like, how do I turn that awareness into action now? Which I think this campaign helps people do, because we do know about this. We all, given the stats, have been affected by this disease at some point or another. And so it's like, how do you turn that into action? Because even as a child, my grandmother had, I mean, this is awful. My grandmother had a lumpectomy when I was little, and I played with her fake boob like it was my job. Like I thought it was the funnest thing ever, you know, but like did I take that and then say, oh, I should be talking about this? No. You know what I mean? Did I take that fun childhood moment and say, oh, I should like spend more time understanding why she had a prosthetic, you know? And I don't think I ever took that time until a lot later than I would have liked. And so again, it affected me then. And my awareness was not yet into action, and now it is, which is good. But Dr. Candace, I saw Ms. Bailey mention surgeries, and then Ashani mentioned surgeries. So like your face started going as if like, should they have had that many surgeries? And then also, what does it mean to have a benign thing early? Is that a risk factor for later?
Sure, great question. So I'm glad that you both brought up all of these benign issues. So it's very common to have benign lesions throughout the body and in the breast. For Black women, we are at a slightly higher risk of having something called a fibroadenoma. I'm not sure if that's what either of you had, but it's a benign mass that can grow, and it doesn't turn into cancer. However, according to some of the risk calculators, having your breast biopsied in general does put you at a slightly higher risk with like the calculators that we have for breast cancer. Fibroadenomas don't really put you at a significantly elevated risk for breast cancer, though. It's more like having multiple areas that look atypical or that are atypical that put you at an elevated risk for breast cancer. So things like ADH, which is atypical ductal hyperplasia, can put you at an elevated risk. And then there's a whole list of atypical lesions that can put you at a slightly higher risk. But I guess can each of you talk about how you discussed like self-exams with your daughters, or what either like Naima or Nia, what you did as a result of seeing your mothers go through that?
Did you teach me self-exams?
I don't think, no, I don't even think, even with all of that, quite honestly, I don't think, well, I know I didn't take it honestly as seriously as I did. I think in those moments when I had to have surgery, I did my breast and examined my breast. But I think after that, I didn't even, when I got the all clear, I didn't think about it. And I don't think, I didn't give that to you.
No, because I feel like, I don't want to categorize, but I feel like Black women, when they go through something, it's secretive. Like, I don't want my child to see me hurt. I don't want my child to see me going through stuff. I'm Superwoman. So I think not to take that cape away from you, but you just wanted to go through that alone so I wouldn't have to worry about anything. So I think that's why you didn't say anything to me. So Sorry, but you didn't teach me any self-exams.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I want to hear what Naima has to say about this. Like, because we talked about this a little briefly yesterday. Naima, did I talk with you about it?
No, not really. I mean, you've tell me to like look at my breasts in the shower. I've definitely heard that before, but like not specifically like self-exam language in terms of looking for breast cancer, like that severity of it. She didn't explain, but there's definitely been a make sure that they're okay and there haven't been any large changes, that type of thing. And again, like it sounds like a lot of your thought about breast cancer and breast health happened before I was there. So yeah, I feel like for that reason, it wasn't like connecting breast health with breast cancer wasn't a big deal, I think, in our household. It was more of a make sure your breasts look good and healthy type of thing.
I think a lot of it had to do with like make sure your body is healthy, like right, your
Yeah.
breast of your body, right, and then also young ladies, you didn't have breasts for a lot of the time you were at home. Like, they came later, right? Like I presume, right, when you go through puberty. So, but it would, I think, like putting it in the context of that language, like I want you to be healthy. Your body is yours. You can examine your body. You give that. It sort of, I think, and Naima, you can tell me. I think this is what she's saying, and tell me if you think it's wrong. But it kind of fell under the, hey, make sure you are healthy. Your body is healthy. Your mind, all of it together.
Yeah, I was just gonna say also one thing I've only realized recently as like someone that's pre-med like doing research right now is how race has been like even in our conversations. I wish there was a more of an emphasis on like specific risk factors of being a Black woman. Like I feel like I knew to look at my breasts and make sure they're healthy, but I guess I didn't understand the risks that I specifically had being a Black woman and that type of thing. So I like in conversations around this, I love how we hone in on that aspect of it.
Honestly, though, Ashani, what I've learned, and Naima, is that the way that you approached it was the best way. You should teach people to look for to know their normal over searching for something bad. Like that is the language that we want to be using. So like, even though you maybe could have been more specific, you were teaching like to know your normal, because that is what we want people to have. We don't want people to be in the process of looking for abnormalities. We want them to be in the process of knowing they're normal. So if something weird were to show up, they would then know that this is weird versus knowing my normal. So again, like, and that's the thing with these conversations too, because like, it seems like perming my hair. Like my mom permed my hair when I was 3 years old, right? She knew to do that. It was what everyone was doing, you know what I mean? And it's like not at all a bad thing that she chose to, even though I would never perm my hair again, you know? But like, it just seemed like so many of these are like cultural moments that our moms knew to do. And it is not at all like, yeah, it's like, that's what everyone was doing. And it seemed that's what was normal. And so it's good that your instinct, both of it, people, everyone here was to focus on health, because that's what For Love of My Girls is taking the fear out of cancer and it's making it more health focused. Because after doing our research for our Women's Advisory Board, we did learn that they wanted to know the stats, like Naima just said. They wanted to understand the reality of this disease. They also wanted really clear action steps on how to do it. And so, but Jaylee, I'd love to hear from you too about like, what was it like with your mom finding out that she had cancer? Like, what did that mean for you? What did you do next?
Finding out that my mom had cancer at first was like, no, you don't. Like, you have cancer? Like, that's not possible. Like, you're like the picture of health. She eats healthily. She works out 50 times a day and she does hikes and she does all of like the picture of health things. So like when I heard that she had breast cancer, and I'm like, also, you're super young. Like she only got diagnosed when we were 38.
Yeah.
So I was like, that's not, hold on. Like something just wasn't matching up. So it was a lot of like, she does not have breast cancer. Like that's just not possible in my head. And as she was going through her chemo and me seeing like the effects that it's been having on her and how she had her surgeries and just seeing how it was affecting her really resonated something inside me. Like, okay, like, first of all, she is super strong and she obviously held on that really, really brave face. And I don't think she wanted me or my sister to worry too much. So that really helped her, I think, power through a lot of what she was going through physically. But once you know, we were all kind of comfortable more with having that conversation, she made sure to put me in the spaces that I can get all the information that I could possibly get. Like I got all the information I could from her. And then when she gave me all she could, she put me in spaces where I can have even more information. I kind of noticed the trend happening with the not being taught how to breast exam by my mother, but she definitely was really, she still really is super big on giving me that information and reminding me to, okay, like make sure everything is good. And before I go to the doctor, she's like, and you know this, right? And she was like, and you know what age? And she was like, you know, it's triple negative, and you know this, 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 and this. So she is always like offering the information. So I do see, I kind of heard it being said that kind of Black women are just super strong, want to be super women, and not really giving into that a lot. But she was really good with offering the information. And so, yeah, it was scary, but it's also kind of like you said, Haley, like, now that we know about it, now it's like, it's more like a picture of health sort of thing. Like it's about looking to your health of not just your breast, but also like your whole body. So I'm always like finding myself I just feel around. Cause like even with breast cancer, like I know sometimes you find a lump in your arm. And she didn't find her lump in the arm, but she put me in a space where I got the information that like sometimes it's right here, and it comes up wherever. So and I'm still learning about it. I'm still like finding the information, and I'm still finding out my normal because I didn't check my body a lot. So I'm still figuring out like what my normal is. So, but yeah, she really opened everybody, meaning the women in my families, because she talks about it a lot now. She opened up our eyes to like just health, getting a mammogram, checking your breasts.
Which I know is big for your mom, because she didn't tell anybody at work that she was sick. And so
I didn't tell anybody. I didn't tell anybody.
She slapped on a wig. She got her little false eyelashes, and she didn't tell anybody about it.
I kept it private. I will say though, like, I do credit like Touch and For Love of My Girls and Dr. Candace for providing the space and the resources and the like everything that I didn't have the words or the information to give so freely, but now I point in directions like, hey, here's this website, here's more information, here's this, here's that. And that really helped me to help connect those dots to other people. Yeah. And then as I was going through it, you know, like how Dr. Nina said, like I really wanted to keep it to myself, like a secret, but I also knew that I had to at least tell like my immediate family while I was going through it. But it was also, and I tell people this all the time, like when I got the closest I ever have been like spiritually with God, and I asked God, like, why me? You know, why, you know, he's like, you know, why not? And so I told him, like, let me just do this. Me and you, there's time. And when I'm done on the other side, I'll make sure I'll shout to the rooftops. Right. And so now I'm on the other side. And so I'm trying to hold up my end of the bargain, that I'm definitely spreading the word and letting people know, like, this is important.
I just wanted to acknowledge the language that you all use, because I think that language and I saw Nia put up a heart, which is, my mom put me in the spaces,
right,
to get that information. My mom put me in the spaces to learn what I needed to learn. I mean, that's powerful, right? Because as like parents, we do the best we can with what we have at the time that we have it,
right?
Right? Yeah. And if we don't have it, then ideally we're in a position to be able to put each of you, our daughters, are just most prized possessions, right? Not possessions, but, you know, prize in those spaces. So I just want to like shout out and acknowledge that language that you, young lady, use. That's powerful. Your mom put you in the spaces to get the information that you needed.
Yeah. Which is so big of a mom to say, like, even if I don't know, knowing the space to go to find it, I'm sure is so nice. Yeah, I know, but Jillian, with my mom too, my mom took her, you know, even, you know how much my mom speaks. Right. And it took her almost like 3 months before I understood how bad her diagnosis was. I was at school. It was my sophomore year of college. And so she dropped me off. And the day she dropped me off was the day that we found out. She was like going back to Boston from Hanover, and literally called me then. But our situation was interesting too in terms of our mom-daughter moment, because I was traveling in China that whole summer before. Because my dad told me to get to know my roommate. She was from China, ended up majoring in Chinese, fell in love with it. And moved straight there after my freshman year. And my mom was supposed to go to her OBGYN appointment that summer, I think in July. And she waited till I got home because it just made it easier for her to us to go to the dentist, doctor, all those things together for that 2 weeks I was home, going back to school. And the doctor that's when they found her lump. And the doctor told her that if she had come to her appointment a month earlier, they probably wouldn't have found it because her cancer was so fast growing. It just would have been too small. And that if she had come a month later, that it would have been really big and we would have been in a different situation. And so us going in that moment was slightly serendipitous for us to find it. And me being home that 2 weeks demanded that we get the biopsy as soon as possible so I could be home. But then, she didn't tell me that it was triple negative and until I got home for Thanksgiving. And that was when I realized I wasn't leaving. I was going to stay here with chemo with her. And so I went back for finals for a week and then stayed home with her because she just wasn't, telling the truth. And I will always hold my mom accountable. So, and that's what's, I'm sure everybody here has moments where they're like, oh gosh, my daughter held me accountable again. But I love doing that, actually. It's not a problem. And so stayed home with her. And then again, her next round of chemo, when it came back, well, luckily my school was on quarters. And so I got to arrange my college. So I went to school during the summers and was off when she had chemo. But we got really lucky that way. But yeah, it's an interesting situation. And I don't think even then I knew where to go look or what to go do. I think I dove into Grey's Anatomy and, made sure I watched every season, which is like not at all an answer to anything. Feeling that I would feel closer to something. My mom, we were big, like, do hair on Sundays, watch ER people growing up. And so Grey's Anatomy was just like the next tier, really. But it's hard. And I don't think that even then I started to do enough fast enough to learn about this disease. I don't even think I went to my next doctor's appointment over the next couple of years and said, here's my family history. I don't think I did that until this past year, but it's so important to know those things. It's an honor to know those things. Not everybody has this information. I met some lady, I've been doing all this work at HBCUs, and I met so many young girls who have told me they were adopted and like just don't have this information. And so I was like, you got to go to genetic testing. I was like trying to figure out ways to support them, but like it's an honor for us to know our family history. So we have to use it with fidelity and use it to our advantage.
Thank you so much for sharing all of that, Haley. I think one thing that you touched upon that I think some of the mother-daughters who might be watching is really important is about like the shifts in roles whenever someone's diagnosed with cancer, especially the mother, and holding them accountable. And sort of also the balance of them being able to take care of themselves as well as the children. I don't know, Jennifer, if you ever had that sort of conflict with like how to take care of myself and my children, or like Jaylene, if you were like, let me stick around so that I make sure that you're doing the right thing.
I think for me, so lucky for me, they were both adults. I think Jaylene had just moved out. Actually,
became an adult.
She had just became an adult, and she just moved out, starting like in school, and that same month that that same month I was diagnosed. And so in some cases, I kept the details kind of like Ricky did with Haley, kept the details away because I wanted to make sure I had all of the information first before sharing. So, and I didn't want her to worry. And then my older daughter, the same, like I just like kept it light. And then when I was going through it, I did want to do it alone as much as possible. Like I have my husband here, and even with him, like in some cases I just wanted to like just be alone and go through it, and try to like keep that, that healthy face. But luckily for me, I was able to work during treatment. I'm also a fitness coach, so I was able to teach classes and I'm a hiker. I wasn't always able to hike. And so
Yeah.
she would hike with me, and it wouldn't be like I used to. Like instead of doing like 10 miles, it may be one, if that, so, but I was able to still do those things. And so I think that was like the season where they saw the, the effects of chemo and things like that on me, because I couldn't be the regular fit self. And that to me was hurtful, to see other people look hurt for me. You know what I mean? That was like the worst part, is to see others, feel like that. I see the sadness or the compassion in their eyes. My sisters as well, my mom. Like, I hated being around them because they will look and just be like, oh, like they see it, so that was like rough for me during that time.
For me, I know how my mother is, and I know that she does not like pity. She likes to really kind of keep things to herself and do things herself. So she did keep a lot of it really close to her. Like, she didn't really want to give too much details, and she didn't want to worry me and my sister. So I had to figure out what I could do to help her while also not giving her the, oh, mom kind of treatment, because I know she didn't want it. So it was a lot of just saying yes whenever she asked me for something, hiking with her every weekend, and just kind of spending that time listening to her grievances whenever she's like, oh, I'm feeling kind of like this, but then I want to keep doing this. And I'm like, but you're doing awesome. Like, you're doing so great. Or like when her hair started falling out, I could tell that it really affected her, but she threw some jokes at it. So I threw jokes right back, and whatever I could do to kind of help ease that for her. I know that she didn't want anybody to really see the darker side of it. So it's really just up to me to figure out not only what I could do for her, but like what I could do to help ease the pain a little bit. Like, if that meant like to come over to like clean the house, then that's what I would do. I didn't go with her to chemo because I knew she wouldn't have let me. She would be like, no, you gotta go to work and you have to do this, and don't you have bills to pay? No, you can't come with me to chemo. So but she did have the people around her. Like, I know she hung out with my grandpa a lot. He went to chemos with her on Thursdays. Was it like
he would like call me? So
Yeah,
I had chemo on Thursday. He still calls me every Thursday too, by the way, but he would call me every Thursday. Not mention chemo, but he knew it was chemo day. Just be like, hey,
how you doing?
what are we doing today? So that was cool. But
yeah, but luckily after she beat the cancer, she was so open about it. Like, she's telling everybody, and she's like telling my grandma, like, you need to do this and that and check your breast and go get mammograms. Like, she's not letting anybody be tight-lipped about it anymore. She's vocal about it. Every time we go to something, she invites my family members. She posts it on her social media, like, oh, come to this, come to that, or just throwing out information wherever she can. So I think she mentioned like her prayer to God. She was like, just God, like, get me through it, and then I'm gonna yell it from the rooftops. And she really stuck to that. So that's really what she's doing.
I actually have similar memories of me and my mom during treatment, like making the most fun that you possibly could out of it, Like, she was not someone that wanted to wear wigs, so we built a hat collection. She used to fake sleep when that person from church came with the third casserole, and I'd have to like, she literally fake sleep in the couch. I have to go do it that. Like, we like had fun with it as much as we could, But moms, yeah, like what is it like, because I mean, obviously, like, given your lives at this point, we've all had different things happen to us. What is it like, wanting to make sure that you're still mom, yet having your daughters care for you in any way,
I'll let the moms go first. My daughter's phone overheated, but she'll be back.
Oh, she's here. She's back.
So y'all.
Hi, sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. But yeah, no, we were just talking about like, what's it really like when, you're a mom and you like wearing this cape and you're wearing this crown and you do all things, yet like what it looks like when your daughters have to, be more of a caretaker role. Like, how does that feel? What is that like for you?
I was gonna say, can I like spin off on that?
Yeah,
I
please.
think it's respectfully annoying when she wears a cape. Like, so she has a cape, and I'm not taking away her crown, her cape, or anything, But for me, it's like, don't do that. You can tell me that you need help. I will bring you, food, or I'll make you this or that. I feel like she tires herself out unnecessarily to keep things from me, or to make sure, I'm the mom. I want to keep harm from you. I want to keep worry from you. But I think that puts more on her plate than necessary. So I feel like I get more frustrated when she does things like that, because it's like, well, if you would have said something earlier, we wouldn't be in this predicament. So respectfully, but it doesn't take away her crown, her, cape. She's still my mom. She's still the GOAT. But, if you would have spoke up, and it doesn't take away, you're still my mom and saying I need help. You're human, so I think that little spin off, just sit down, lady.
It really is a delicate balance, because there's no manual, right? So forever we're training our children to do this and so forth and so on. And then it seems like overnight they grow up and they're on their own. Like, how does she get to be 31, right? How does she get to live on her own and pay her own bills and so forth and so on? And so we're taught, I believe it's a learned behavior for generations, to kind of keep it to ourselves, as someone else said, right? And it's not that deep, and I got it. And I really am superwoman. And your body is saying, if you don't go somewhere and sit down, like, you know what I mean? So it's like unearthing that, and it's like a relearning. It's a relearning, because she'll say something to me, and we'll be on the phone sometimes, and she can hear the tired in my voice. And she'll say, okay, mommy, love you. And I'm like, did you just hang up on me? I said, did you? Okay, mommy, love you. You gonna lay down now? That's her way of being respectful. Like, I hear it. You said you're tired. Go lay down. I love you. I'll talk to you later. I'll text you some hearts. You know what I mean? Like, this kind of thing. So I'm taking clues from her, because this is very different. Mothering as an adult, as a child, it's very different, but it's worth it. It's rewarding. Yeah.
I was also just going to speak to how you said that it doesn't take away from your mom's crown. There's definitely like a change in perspective, and I feel like all the daughters and honestly moms have felt this as you grow older and seeing your parents not just as your parents but as humans. And I thought that it would take away the crown, but I think it's even more rewarding, because you realize that they have the same thoughts, feelings, and struggles as you, but a lot more responsibility and taking care of you. So I think that, at least in my own experience, like watching my mom and seeing her as a human being and mom for the first time in forever, has made her seem all the more powerful. You know what I mean?
I love that.
Oh, I'm gonna cry.
I'm also not very good with my mom, so be quiet. I wouldn't say this otherwise.
I love that for this reason alone.
It's interesting, because I was out with a girlfriend earlier today, and we were talking about, with all of these 3 women, we're really close, and we have daughters. We have 3 daughters, and we have all of the girls have little brothers. And we were talking about / sort of lamenting the fact that we raised our daughters differently, or we were different with our daughters. Like, look at my daughter. It's like, we raised our daughters, it was like, be strong, be smart, be self-sufficient. You got this, right? Like, be like that. And with our sons, and I know it's like, it's my baby, right? So one of it's the youngest thing, but I don't know if it's like, as women, it's like, it's like, be strong and be smart and take care of yourself and be powerful and watch out for your health and your body. And like, all of this, it's like, we just want to arm our God. At least I use, I think I can use a we statement, but an I statement. I wanted to make sure that Naima had all of the tools to go out there in the world and be a fierce, badass Black woman, because it's necessary to be fierce and badass when you're a Black woman. And so much of a commitment to that.
Yeah, it was actually my like a family friend of ours who was so happy when I started working for my mom, because he said, like, no one's going to take care of her the way that you would. You know what I mean? Like, no one's going to take care of her business, herself, the way that you would. So I really take that upon myself. I feel like we all do here, to be like, yeah, I do the same thing where I'm like, okay, love you, bye. Same thing, like literally same voice and all. Because it is this fun, it's this thing of like, no, like I do know you better than like you did create me. And like I do know your insides that's in a different way than most people do. And even my sister and I, we both know our mom very differently. We both have different assets that we have of our moms that we can, you know, hold her accountable to. But it's a journey with your mom because my mom and I, but it's funny now because I'm like, now that I work for her too, I'm like, no, you can tell me what to do again. Like you are my boss. You know, I have to remind her sometimes to like stop momming and it's okay to be my boss. Like you can tell me to like go get on that flight and go do that thing, you know? And now we have to like work that balance that we work together. But it's delicate and I'm so thankful that we've done it very well. Like we really have had very small issues. We had one problem one time and then she shut me up real quick. But it is wait, Shawnee, you're on mute.
I was going to say, could I ask a question? It's actually to Dr. Candace. It's about like, so this conversation, of course, has been about For the Love of My Girls. It's also been about health, right? So it's been about breasts and about breast health and about breast cancer and about the impact on Black women and health disparities as well, as you brought up with showing us the data at the beginning. But we've also spent a lot of time talking about mothers and daughters and mother-daughter relationships. And I'm curious about in the work that you're doing, you, Haley, and Dr. Candace, about how this plays into creating campaigns and interventions that are about advancing health and is about engaging in activities like self-exams or mammograms that are health protective. Like how do you use, or how do you even think to use this sort of information and relationship between Black mothers and daughters in the work that you do? Does that make sense?
Great question. Yeah, that makes sense. I think a lot of the work that I do isn't specifically for like the Black mother-daughter relationship. It's more surrounding breast health and health disparities. So in partnership with Touch and sponsored by Stanford, I have monthly breast health seminars in the Oakland area that actually have breast models for you to practice doing.
Oh, Dr. Candace just froze. Did she freeze for you guys?
Yes, she froze, but I also want to point out, Naima, she said Stanford. You heard that, right?
Yes. Great connection for you guys. Yes.
Oakland, Stanford. My daughter's working at Stanford. But yes,
yeah.
Dr. Candace is.
While she comes back though, I think for me, well, the with our work with Bright Pink, we are focusing on moms right now with the unique, well, the reason why is because we understand, you know, that women create culture in families. That's what we do, you know. We are the conduits to many different generations as well. And so we thought at For Love of My Girls that if we targeted, you know, moms in that 29, you know, that really 18 to 35, because you can be a mom at any phase of that, of our age demographic, that you would not only start speaking to your daughters, but you also start speaking to your parents. And that was why we targeted this moms in general, to really have a fast way to talk to 3 generations instead of just one. And I think, and so far I've seen so many different moms, like moms on this call, and young women begin to have those conversations vertically, you know, in terms of generation. So that's been really, really cool. But Dr. Candace, since you were saying about Alameda, or your county, or
I'm so sorry, my internet just like stopped for a few seconds. So yeah, I have monthly seminars in the area. And each month we talk about a different topic. If you're in the area next Saturday at 10:30 a.m. at Preservation Park, we will be talking about breast reconstruction. And we're just trying to talk about different topics, some that are like a little bit more taboo than others. So breast reconstruction, I think, is a really important topic for us to talk about as well. There are studies showing that Black women and other minorities are less likely to get reconstructive surgery whenever they do undergo surgery for cancer, despite it being covered by insurance and like something that has been shown to help with like overall self-esteem and body image. after surgery. So we'll be talking about that next Saturday. And then some of the other work that I'm doing is looking more at different responses of the body to treatment. Right now I have a study that I'm looking at the lymphocyte counts and how different minority groups' bodies respond whenever they get different treatments for cancer. So it's sort of multiple aspects, but I'm just trying to focus on different areas where I can help with regards to health disparities and breast health.
Okay, Dr. Candace. Yes.
Right? No, Dr. Candace is always killing it. But yeah, thank you guys all for coming on today. It's been amazing to hear from all the relationships and how to navigate that relationship. So in our last couple of minutes, I'd love to get here. What are some general takeaways that you want the young Black woman to know moving forward? In terms of self-exams or how to talk to your mom about this or how to talk to your daughter about this. What are some any takeaways?
I would say in terms of our family that cancer does not necessarily have to be genetic, meaning that everybody that we said in our family, they still ate pig feet and chitlins and this and that and the third. So they didn't eat anything healthy. They drank from toxic water. Mm-hmm. So of course, cancer can and is genetic, but in certain ways, it's healthy eating is very important. Exercising is very important. So I think those are certain takeaways. And then just being honest with your mother, with your son. Her uncle had breast cancer. Uncle Bobby had breast cancer. So even talking with your sons about that is important. And I think those are some of the takeaways that I would say.
I agree. Being open and honest and having these ongoing conversations, it's a taboo. So how can we get rid of the taboo and let's just be open and share? And for those women who don't have daughters or nieces, you have family, you have friends, it's somebody that you can make a connection with and just share your journey, right? Hopefully to prevent a lot of things that could possibly happen. Let's try to just ward it off.
I guess Ashani and Naima.
Naima, go first.
I was going to say, even just in this Zoom, I've seen so much strength and love and knowledge around being a Black woman, but also wanting to continue to maintain your health. And so I would say the main takeaway I have is lean on your community. The people within your community, A, want to help you and not see you go through things alone, but B, have a lot to share and a lot of knowledge about how to keep up your health. So that's something that I feel like I've taken away in terms of my mom and the people around me and people that know my mom, to continue to seek advice from them and not be afraid to ask questions when I have them. Yeah.
I think that's great. That's perfect. I can't talking to your community and relying on community is huge. I have two things only that I will add on is number one is talk to your family, know your family history, know her story. And then number two, go to the doctor. Because a lot of times we don't like to go to the doctor for a variety of reasons. So talk to your family, go to the doctor.
Yes. And then Jennifer and Jaylene.
A big thing that I took away from not only just this Zoom, but just my mom's whole journey as a whole is to don't be afraid to advocate for yourself. Nobody knows you more than you. Nobody knows your body more than you know your body. So if something doesn't feel right or something doesn't seem right, don't be afraid to put that on the forefront, talk about it. Exploring your body is completely natural. So if you see or you feel something that's just not right, no matter how little, no matter how small, don't Google it. Feel free to go to the doctor and advocate for yourself. Be no, I'm sure this is not right. Or, because you know yourself. So I definitely have been advocating for myself, in all aspects of my life, just a little bit more because of this.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I would say, we all it's 1 in 8 women will be affected with breast cancer, right? So we all know 8 women. So it could be a mother, sister, cousin, friend, whoever that we have women in our lives that we love, and I think it's important to continue to have a conversation about breast health, examinations, and early detection saves lives. So being the advocate and all the things that she said is so important.
Yeah.
I was gonna say so many versions of that around like, yeah, like bodies are weird. Your body, so many different weird things happen. And like most of those times, your mom probably has experienced it before. It's like go ask your community, go ask your mom. Like it's so nice when you have something that you think is weird and then you ask them, they're like, oh, that's so normal. Like that happened to me 5 years ago, or that happened to me the other day, And so it's almost nice to like once you open that door, things that seem taboo or seem not normal become normal again. So definitely in your community, talk to your mom, your aunts, everybody, your dads, like anybody. You just like go ask the questions that come up.
Right. I agree with everything that was said. And then for all of the moms watching this, I implore you to talk with your daughters about doing self-breast exams. If you're not comfortable, put them in the right situations where they can experience that. Go to Know Your Lemons. There's a lot of information and books out there to do self-breast exams. And for the daughters, make sure to ask your moms questions and make sure to keep them accountable, because we know that sometimes they do not want to be kept accountable, especially by you. So
I love that. And so, but right before we go, just so you guys know some of the resources Dr. Candace just talked about, because again, I want everyone to have actionable steps here. This is our Love of My Girls website. Again, that's GURLS Girls, loveofmygirls.org. The video we showed earlier. If you scroll down here, you can say download our worksheet. This is our Her Story worksheet. Please go download this, do this worksheet. It will give you more information than just breast cancer, but instead things that are generally common to Black families. So like things that you would want to know when you're talking to your doctor. And then also at the bottom of our website here, we have this infographic, depending on where you are in getting to know your girls. This one's really, really fun, because if you're like, I know how to do this, then great. Or if you're something I don't know how to do it, it's going to take you to YSC's Tick Check. They'll show you how to do it. If you want to build into your routine, it'll show you the Know Your Lemons app, so you can get that app. And that app will even tell you that your period's coming, so go buy some chocolate. It's great. But yeah, so again, some actionable tools for you guys. And thank you guys for all being here today. It's been great. Great way to wrap up Breast Cancer Action Month. Thank you guys. And we'll see you guys next time at the end of November for our next Pink Table Talk.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.